I can welcome everybody to the meeting tonight. I have a nice young lady that's gonna come up. Camila is gonna come up and lead us in our flag salute. If you'd come up here with me, please. You're gonna do great. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get set up and we're gonna look at the flag and you're gonna tell everybody what to do. And we're gonna say the pledge of allegiance. Okay? You tell me when you're ready. Just go ahead and turn around and we'll just go ready to begin. Okay? You want me to say it? Okay. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nice job.
Come over here. I'm gonna give you this, and you're gonna stand right over here. Go ahead and stand right over this. I'm gonna give you this. We're gonna take a little picture together. Okay, are you ready? We're gonna smile, and she's gonna go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Camera, go where it's ready. 1, 2. Awesome, thank you.
Good job.
How are you doing? We haven't seen you in a while. You did great.
And you can sit
Have a
around
nice
for an hour if
evening.
you want to, or you can stay.
Yeah. See what all this nonsense is about.
Thank you, Camila.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on. Welcome, everybody. I didn't get a chance to welcome you at first. You guys weren't here, so welcome. Any addition or deletions to the agenda? We're good? Any public comment?
Nope, none.
That's even better. Even better. GHS ASB team would like to come forward and give us a little update so you guys can hurry up and get up to the game.
Yeah.
Who won the JV game?
I think both our teams won.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was watching part of the girls. It was already like 30-5. The first quarter.
Yeah,
So,
Quincy makes us look really good.
yeah.
Brendan, I'm our vice president.
I'm Jaylee, I'm the president.
I'm Case Judkins, I'm the secretary.
I'm Luis Vina, I'm the ASB assistant treasurer.
You guys want to start with the dog show?
No, sir.
Recently we had our adoptive family project where we collected donations from local businesses in order to supply gifts to families in need. We adopted 18 families this year, and recently on the December the 19th, we went to Walmart and shopped for all of them. They all had needs and wants, and we were able to supply all of those to them. It was very successful, and all the donations were carried out by the Salvation Army.
Next, we have our Coaches vs. Cancer event, just after adult family. And that's going to take place on the 27th, pretty much just like a silent auction. So all the kids in leadership class right now have been assigned at the minimum 2 businesses. And we're going around asking for donations such as like items or gift baskets and stuff like that. And that's going to be used in the silent auction on the 27th. And it's going to help raise money for people with cancer. So it's not coming out.
Sports. I think our girls and boys will have a winning record for basketball, and then our wrestling team just got back from like a really big meet in Seattle. There was like Texas, Alaska.
There's like 3,000
Yeah, there's a bunch of
wrestlers
cities
there.
So they just got done with that. I know. I don't think it was like really successful, but it was just a lot of competition, so it was hard to score against. I think rankings just came out for basketball. I think we're 5th or 10th for boys and 5th for girls in the state for 2A, so that's good.
Yeah, so our girls beat Sela. That was a good win.
They destroyed
That was good.
it. Was nice.
Yeah. And then today we're playing Quincy, and then tomorrow we have our unified basketball game at 4. That's our senior night.
Ooh, 4 o'clock.
Yes. And then what else is this week?
That's about it.
Oh yeah, and then next month we're gonna have our Black History Month. We're coming up with ideas for what we want to do. We're looking for some like student activities instead of us just like usually we make posters. We want some like activities that the students can do. So that's what we're looking at right now.
Do you want to talk about the summit on the 22nd?
Oh yeah, we're also having our SIC summit on the 22nd, which I don't know too much, but I do know I have to make a poster for it.
No, a few other schools are going to be there, I know. No, Prosper's there. Who else is there?
Wapato,
Go
Sela,
see that.
Toppenish.
Yeah.
And I think, I remember who else. Well, I think there were 6 schools.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're pretty good. Any questions or anything?
Who are we playing for Coaches versus Cancer?
We were trying to think of that.
The East Valley.
Is it East Valley?
Yeah.
The East Valley, I think so, yeah.
Then there's somebody gonna go run down in Florida somewhere or something? Gonna go do running?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I run in New York.
Oh, New York?
Yeah, March.
Oh, it's a little colder there.
It's chill.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why Unified at 4? Man, it's tough to get there at 4 o'clock.
early, I
I
know.
know, it's a lot earlier than they usually
It
do.
is, or
I'll do it. I'll skip out of work.
thank you.
I've done it before.
Me too.
Awesome. Anything else?
No?
All right, thanks, guys.
Awesome, thanks.
You guys,
Go yell loudly for us and appropriately, of course.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Jesse. All you.
Sweater.
getting ready.
Getting serious.
I know where eat quick, so this is strictly self-preservation.
You have five.
When I hand out for you guys, to accompany the memo that was submitted, so give you guys a couple minutes to look it over while I do that. So you can- Sure, if you don't mind grabbing it, I'm passing it down. So the memo that was submitted was for some E-rate RFPs that were submitted for this E-rate funding year. What I came to today was talk to you guys a little bit about E-rate, give you some background on it. 'Cause I know we have some new school board members. So everybody has kind of a high level overview of what E-rate is. The description of those RFPs, and then talk a little bit about student laptop refresh and student device refresh. Let's see. All right, so really cool. No, it's really small. Are you guys able to see that okay? Okay, cool, right on. All right. So E-rate, basically, it's a federal funding program administered by the FCC, but managed by USAC. Every year we apply for it. We use it to pay for our internet service, infrastructure. Its intended purpose is to pay for connectivity or to help schools fund connectivity to the school as well as fund so get internet to the school as well as fund connectivity to the building. So gets internet to the schools and then helps you distribute it to all your locations within your building. So that could be your classrooms, secondary buildings that you may have in the schools to get fiber optic connectivity to them. So partial reimbursement. So because we are a high poverty school district, our NSLP data plays into what our discount rate is. So NSLP is free and reduced lunch. So students that qualify for free and reduced lunch. Based on our previous numbers, which I don't have updated numbers for this funding cycle yet, we were at 85% for category 2 and 90% for category 1. I'll go into that here in a bit, a little more in depth here in a bit. So category 1 has no cap, right? So there is no funding limit, but it will only fund up to 90% of the eligible purchase. So there is no overall limitation to how much we can apply for and use. Category 2 has a budget and it's funded every 5 years. So our budget, our 5-year cycle just ended. And for funding year 2026, which starts July 1, we get a whole new category 2 budget, and that has to last 5 years. So whatever we do, we have 5 years to use that money before that budget refreshes again. The allocation for this next funding cycle is 201, so 201.57 cents per eligible student. So once we have our free and reduced lunch numbers, we'll know what our category 2 budget is. I'm anticipating right around 600K, but I'll have to wait and see what those numbers actually are.
Is that just high school, middle school students or everybody in the
No, so that
district?
would be district wide.
Okay.
So district wide. Of those two funding categories, category one, like I said, funds internet connectivity to your building. So internet access, wide area network connections, any fiber. So the fiber that we have between, like from our data centers, which would be at HT McClure going to all the other schools, all that fiber that we have is considered category one because it delivers those services to the buildings. Category two is going to be anything inside the building. So for example, wireless access points, cabling inside the classrooms to wall jacks, anything you see in a network closet inside of a school is going to be considered category two.
What about the district office? Is that qualified?
Yeah, so the way E-rate works is they allow us to have instructional facilities and non-instructional facilities. So our allocation doesn't change based on how many facilities we have. What it does allow us to do is leverage category one and category two dollars for both instructional and non-instructional facilities. So here in a bit, you're going to see RFP that I'm gonna talk about for the warehouse location, which is right across from 10-4. That's considered a non-instructional facility, but it's eligible for category one connectivity services. All right, so on that list of RFPs, category one, you have dark fiber connection to 710 West Wine Country Road. That's that warehouse location right across from 10-4. So this RFP is our current contract expired. And so we're looking out to look for just continuation of service, basically, whether it's the same vendor or a different vendor that comes in and takes it over. We're going out for a 2-year contract, and that's because our existing dark fiber that we have in the rest of the district has 2 more years on the existing contract. So what we're looking for is to basically just carry this one on until the other ones expire, and then we'll go out to bid for all of them together. Category 2, network switches. So so if you think about our network infrastructure, we've got our internet connection that comes in. We have 2 main switches that handle all that processing for the district, all the internet traffic that comes in and out. Those 2 switches are on that RFP, and then all of our buildings each have a head-end switch that connects to those main switches for connectivity. So each building, if you look at it, you got the main district switches, then you've got your head-end switches for each building, and then inside of that you have all your network closets that feed connectivity to all the classrooms. So we're going out to refresh our core and distribution layers, which is basically the head-end switches for the district. The next one on here, I'm gonna talk a little bit about cost. I think I got a little bit ahead of myself. So the dark fiber connection, based on what we're paying now, I'm projecting about $17K, and that's pre-discount to the district. Category 2, the network switches, list price for kind of what we have right now is about $550K. We never pay list price, we always pay discount rates, but I don't know what's going to be bid in the contract. It may be the same hardware that we have manufactured, it could be something completely different. So it's really hard to base on pricing until we have that data. Firewall, you guys have seen this one before. If you remember the cybersecurity pilot program, they have been moving really slow. I had an inquiry over Christmas break, responded to it. They wanted some line item details on what we were going to buy. So I sent that in. I have not heard back since. And so I don't have a funding commitment from them. I don't have like approval denial. I don't foresee us getting denied, but I don't have an approval. So what I'm doing is submitting under E-rate just so that we have another funding vehicle for this in the event that doesn't pan out, just as a backup plan. So that's why you see that. And that 85K is the dollar amount that was tied to the contract that we awarded that we bid to. That's where that came from. The next one is managed network services. This one's interesting. So E-rate has there's a weird rule that says that if you have managed network services, you can fund your network WAN switches under category 1 instead of category 2. So if you look on the network switches, that $550,000 line item, potentially, if we were to go into a managed services contract, we might be able to shift that purchase under category 1. The benefit of that is that we would save 5% on the total cost. The big benefit is that it preserves our category 2 budget, allows us to use it for other things in district, like any kind of cabling that has to be refreshed, other network equipment. I don't know what that's going to come in at. It's strictly an estimate. But once those bids come in, I'll conduct a cost analysis and see what the additional cost to the district is. And then I'll sit down with Brad and I'll look at it and say, okay, is this going to be worth it in the long term for us to go into a managed services contract? So those are the RFPs. Any questions on RFPs? But E-rate, I know that was a quick shot to E-rate, but if you guys have any questions, happy to answer them. All right, we're gonna move on. I guess the rest of it is the category one total to the district is about 1,700. If they come in at what I estimated the cost to be. Category two, 117,750, and that's based off of these estimates on this slide here. 2/4, so February 4th will be, all the bids will have to be submitted by then. That's the bid opening day. My plan is either by the board meeting on the 10th or the 24th to come back to you guys with some recommendations for approving contracts, award contracts. The next thing I'd like to talk about is student device refresh. So this is another big one. Currently, our current deployment model for student devices in district are for students in grades 3 through 12. It's 1-to-1. So for every student, we have a device. In grades K2, we also have a 1-to-1 deployment. For every student, we have a device. Just recently, we met with principals, or I met with principals to gather some input on, do we need to revisit our deployment model? So when we went 1-to-1 with K2, it was back when COVID hit. And I don't know if you guys remember, but OSPI had some funds that became available to purchase devices. And they basically told school districts, how much do you need, or how many devices do you need to go 1-to-1 to support remote learning? So that's when we went 1-to-1 K2, and so this is how many devices we need. We got them, and so we were 1-to-1 since then. However, going forward, those funding sources have dried up. And so we're going back and revisiting, what do we need to do to make sure that we can maintain a 5-year refresh cycle? So that with principals, and we talked about how long devices are touched by students at different grade levels. The benefits of them having continued access to a device versus having to share a device. And what we determined together was that students in grades 3 through 5, because it was an elementary meeting, would need access to a device basically all day throughout the school day. But whether or not they use a device all day, having a device in the classroom available was what we decided on. K2, they could share a device. So for every one student, every one device, well, for every 2 students, we'll have 1 device going forward. And so the principals at that point will work with their teachers to schedule, how those cards get shared between classrooms. So that is going to be the deployment model going forward. So as we talk about refresh today, you're going to see a large device count, but that's because we're 1-to-1 today. But the refresh schedule is going to reflect a K2 1 device 2 student model and 3-12 1-to-1 model. All right, so device phase out. A little bit about why or how when we try to get devices out of district. General rule of thumb right now is about 5 years. At 5 years of age, we're starting to see hardware degradation, hardware failures due to not so much vandalism, but just hinges, trackpads, screens going out. We're seeing the cost to maintain a device after the 3rd year almost triple on average across all devices. And so at 5 years, it's a good time for us to start looking at replacing devices. So the refresh plan reflects a 5-year cycle on devices. The other determining factor for getting devices, removing them out of circulation, is Google AUE. So it's not so much now, but before, Google had what they called an auto update expiration, kind of like your iPhone. It says, okay, you're not getting any more. You can't download the next app, the latest app, because you have to update to the next version of the software, but your hardware's too old, so you can't update. That's what we were running into. Now we're seeing real extended times for that AUE that exceed the life of the device. And we're starting to see hardware failure before we hit those dates. So that's almost a non-issue going forward. But it is in there, it's something to look at. Today in district, we have about 3,818 devices. That's above our current head count. And that's because as we've taken devices out of circulation, if we still have that model in circulation in certain quantities, we keep those devices as cyclical spares and we take them for parts. So we will not get rid of them. We want to squeeze every last bit out of them we can, which is why we see a higher number for for devices in district versus headcount. Okay, so going forward, when we look at device refresh, we don't want to take any devices that, the way I look at it now, any devices that are going to be 4 years of age and younger are the ones we want to take into next school year. We want to phase out the devices that are going to hit their 5-year mark at the end of the school year. So what you're going to see here, the last bullet point there is we have 1,344 out of the 3,818 devices that are eligible to carry into next school year as devices in our inventory. This table here breaks it down by school and grade band at the elementaries. That first column is building. You're gonna see high school, middle school, CLC. Elementaries are broken out by grade band, again, because 3-5 is 1-to-1 and K2 is a one device to two students. And so that's what that reflects. Head count is as of January of this year. So whatever enrollment was reported for January. And then the spares are the spares that we need at each of the buildings to ensure that we can cycle devices out that have gone down for hardware, software reasons. To give us an opportunity to put a working device back in the student's hand or repair the one that had the deficiency. So that last call, second to the last column there, devices less than 4 years of age. Those are the devices at each of the buildings that are at the end of the school year will be 4 years or newer and can be eligible to be carried into next school year. That last column is a difference between head count, spares, and the devices that can be moved to the next school year. So if we look at the high school, 1,093 for head count and then 30 spares, we actually need, what is that? 1093 plus 30 is 1123, is that right? 1123, so we need 1123 to carry over next school year. And if we subtract the 579, that 544 is what we need to buy this school year to be on a 5-year refresh plan. Those are big numbers. If you look down the list, 544, 410, 12, 156, 193. The financial burden of having to refresh those amount of devices in 1 year is high. And I still wouldn't recommend it because we're buying them all in 1 year. And so guess what's going to happen 5 years from now? We're going to see that big number again. So going on to the next slide, I'm gonna circle back to this one here in just a second. I'm gonna talk a little bit about teacher laptops, and then I'm gonna show you guys what the refresh schedule looks like for both student devices and teacher laptops together. Any questions on this slide before I move on? Okay, moving on. All right, teacher laptops. So teacher laptops, deployment model is 1 laptop per teacher. Device phase out, same thing, 5 years, we try to age them out. Current teacher laptops are about, the majority of them are going on 6 years at the end of the school year. So we have about 195 teachers in classrooms today. 217 devices for those teachers, so we have a few spares. But of those 217 devices, only 5 of them will be at the end of the school year, 4 years or newer. Which means that in an ideal refresh cycle, we're only going to carry over, or should carry over, only 5 to next school year. That's a big number. This next slide, what I tried to do was kind of level out what we need to purchase every year. Luckily for us, next year is a 0 year for us for devices that are going to hit that 5-year mark. So that is big numbers that you saw on that table on the previous slide. We have a couple of years to make up that ground. What this slide reflects is this year and next school year. Making up that ground and then leveling off going into the future. What I'm trying to do is make this so that you can use it for budgetary planning going forward, anticipate what we need to spend every year. So student Windows laptops for this year, for example, 483, student Chromebooks 350, teacher laptops 100. Teacher laptops are not spread across 5 years, just because when we bought the teacher laptops, they were bought in 1 year. So if I were to spread those across 5 years, we might be asking some teachers to have a laptop for close to 10 years, and that's not going to work. When you apply the financials to those numbers, this is what it looks like. So first column is the school year. The next column is what it is. So student laptops, student Chromebooks, teacher laptops. And then you've got pricing. Again, pricing is estimated right now. The only pricing I know for sure right now is student Chromebooks. The other ones are based off previous pricing that we paid. As of January, costs have gone up, SSDs, memory. So we'll see an increase in pricing. So I'll go out and get updated pricing, but it's pretty close. Quantities reflect the refresh schedule in the previous slide. And then you see totals for line items coming across, as well as totals for that school year for refresh. I applied a 4% inflation rate to every year. These prices do include taxes. But if you look down at the very bottom of that slide, you'll see the 5-year total cost for device refresh. And that's projected based on 4% inflation rate. These numbers can fluctuate if enrollment changes, because when we refresh devices, we refresh them to head count. And so if enrollment goes up, we'll see more devices that need to be purchased. If enrollment goes down, we'll buy less. But we're looking at a 2.3 million dollar refresh cycle for 5 years.
That's until we buy everybody meta glasses.
Say that one more time, sir.
That's until we get everybody meta glasses.
So I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to digest that. Do you guys see if you guys have any questions on that one?
How early in the year do they need to be ordered
Um,
to have them ready for the next school year?
Typically, we would do them over the summer. Chromebooks this year at the elementaries are a little bit more of a concern. We've carried them on for 6 years. We're starting to see just hardware failure after hardware failure with trackpads.
So when would you order them though?
If I can get quotes put together, I could get them ordered within the next couple of weeks. The
Oh.
Chromebooks, yeah. Laptops for student devices at middle school, and high school can wait till the summertime.
Mhm.
But you won't have any actual dollars till February, you said, right?
In regards
For the
to,
budget, to be able to say how much all that's gonna cost?
I can get numbers for cost of devices. The thing is, when I go to the vendors.
Oh, maybe that was the reimbursement money on.
That was the year.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah,
E-rate,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
that's E-rate, yeah, this is completely separate for E-rate, but
Yeah,
because we are going into that time of the year, I figured I'd bring this to the table as well, just to make sure you guys are aware. Yeah, so typically refresh would occur over the summer. In this case, there is a little bit more of a sense of urgency to get these Chromebooks refreshed for the elementaries before state testing comes around. We don't want students fighting devices that have deficiencies and trying to struggle with taking the test at the same time. All right, so I'm gonna move on to the next slide here. Actually, I'm gonna leave this for you guys to review. I went back, what I did was I tied these to this strategic plan. Okay, there's a few slides on this, so let you guys go back and review. If you guys have any questions on strategic plan, how it aligns, the E-rate stuff or device refresh, let me know. I'm happy to expand on it. However, the closing slide is, I'm not asking you guys to take any action today, but I do anticipate that the majority of these purchases will exceed $100,000. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of, what those RFPs entail, what student device refresh looks like, so that when we come back to the table, have another conversation, we guys have some background on this. Is there any questions I can answer at this time?
No, you made it pretty self-explanatory. So.
Very good.
And you probably know the answer to this. I'm pretty sure Brad probably budgeted for some of this.
I think so, some of it, I don't know, I can't speak for that, I wish he was here to speak on that one. Rob did.
Yeah, he keeps this is one of his line items.
That's what I would have thought,
Okay.
yeah, okay. Because that's about the same amount of money, didn't we spend last year on,
Device
or
refresh,
year before?
last year we did not refresh.
So was it the year before we
Yeah,
bought a
yeah,
bunch? Yeah,
And that's
and it was about that much money.
pretty close, yeah, very close.
And that's why he was excited when we said, hey, we're gonna be 400 to the good. And he said, and we're gonna put it toward technology.
All right, well, I appreciate you guys' time, you guys have.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thanks, Justin.
okay. We're gonna move on to the consent agenda. Mr. Stegeman, recuse yourself from the consent agenda.
Yep.
So I'd like to call for a motion on the consent
I
agenda.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to new business. So this is a little unique thing. I actually didn't know about this policy till it was brought up, but Heather has requested a 2-month excuse, and the board has to approve that excuse. And that actually, if you, I don't know, did you present the policy with this when you sent this out?
I don't believe so.
Anyway, in the policy, it actually tells you some of the reasonings you can utilize for missing meetings. Military, things like that, illnesses, work, different things, but certain ones have to fall into being approved by the board. So what she did is I had her present a letter that was in the packet that she requests 2 months away. And we have to vote on that and approve it. And I knew of this, but if you have 4 unexcused absences, then you can replace the person. So, anyway, so I'm going to ask for a motion on this.
I make a motion that we excuse Heather's absences.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. McClure Elementary School Improvement Plan.
I make a motion to approve the McClear Elementary Schools Improvement Plan.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to superintendent's report.
Yeah, I'll make this quick.
Update.
Getting on board, yeah. Just some newsworthy items. As I mentioned previously, I was part of one of the committees for this interview process for the new YBC president. And they asked me for a quote, and so I put that in there and included a link to our website, and so they did that. We had a great presentation at the Grandview Chamber a couple weeks ago. It was really well received, and they actually Kathy said, "Hey, show of hands, how many are voting for the levy?" So she forced people to raise their hand
Wow.
right then and there. Like, even if you aren't living here, would you vote for it? Be like, yeah. So we have the levies, we have the chambers vote. And that was pretty interesting. Brad and I are like, we can't tell you how to vote. Kathy's like, I can.
Atta girl.
Yeah, I got interviewed by the Grandview Herald, and they sent a photographer here today to do pictures, so that should be ready soon about the levy. They're also going to come to the Student Voice Summit on the 22nd. So they're going to bring in a photographer and reporter down there for that. We had a good write-up on the front page, the Grandview Herald. And then the Apple Valley News ran a segment about a levy last night. We've received 2 grants. One of them is $300,000 grant to replace the clocks in McClure. It seems like a big deal for clocks, but clocks are everything. You know, bell schedule, every schedule, recess, bathroom, everything. And so that's a big deal because they've been without consistent clocks for a while. And then Josie wrote a grant to receive funding to update ADA entrances and exits at our buildings. And we got a $150,000 grant for that. And so thank you, Josie, for that.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, that's great. I'm glad we got it.
So they're identifying, now we're trying to figure out like how do we spread that out so everybody gets equal access to it, because you can't do every building, every exterior building and every for 150 grand. So they're trying to figure out we're gonna triage the primary ones. And then so you're aware we met with Gloria Mendoza and Gary Christensen a week or 2 ago. And we're looking at starting a CDL program here. Last Friday, Betty and Derek and I were going to take a drive up to Othello because Othello and Connell have them already. And Gary was instrumental helping those programs begin. So we had to cancel that meeting because they had no assistant principal at the high school that day, had those 2 been gone. And so we're going to reschedule it, but we're going to go up there and get the ball rolling on that. And Betty's also looking into offering a diesel mechanic program and like a ATV farm instrument type mechanical certification program. So these would be really good programs for us to begin. And obviously the forklift operator one too.
Huge.
So that's they're in the infancy stage. If I were to put a point in the infancy stage, I'd think husband and wife are talking about having a baby. We're not pregnant yet. We don't even have a due date, but we made a decision to have a baby, so these are the babies we're gonna have. That's a weird.
It works.
It works.
Hey, we knew what you were talking about.
Next time I'll tell you like, hey, our CDL program is a peanut. Grandview High School is gonna start partnering with the Social Institute, and this is a program Derek's really excited about, and it does a lot of work around social engineering inside the school, but it's a huge parent engagement component to it. And he explained to me a little bit about it. He told me I could share it with you. And once he knows more about it, he's going to come present to you as well. But he's really excited about this because he sees a big gap in family engagement, parent engagement. And you'd be amazed at how many times we sit down with parents in a meeting. The parents are upset that the district's not calling them. We say, pull up your phone, and we call them right there, and it shows up as blocked. They're blocking the school's phone numbers on their parents' phones. So when the high school calls or middle school calls the parent, it doesn't ring. And so parents are fuming at us for not calling, and we're fuming at them for not responding, and it turns out kids are being kids. And so there's all these different things that can happen, and And so the Social Institute is designed to really help create a bigger bond between the community and families in the school, and the students taking more ownership of that. So Derek's going to share more about that with us. And then real quick, I wanted to show you, Jose and his squad have been working on creating a strategic plan dashboard. So if you go to the district's website, if you go to the About Us section, it's there for now. Once the levy information page, we take that off, it's going to be right in the middle. It's going to have a standalone page. You go on here and you click on our goal, and it shows you the data for each of those projects and how we've been progressing in the last couple of years. So for our whole person, whole learner, our bilingual, biliterate goal, challenge and engage the high levels, success in the early years, and then thriving at college, career, and life. And so it actually shows you like what did we move from one year to the next year. Then as data is being updated, they're adding it to it and updating it. So
Nice.
it's pretty cool. So kudos to Jose and his squad for figuring out A, wrapping their minds around how do we make this an actual dashboard, and B, getting it on the website. So yeah, that's awesome. So good job, Jose and your team.
Jesse, Stephanie, and Amy.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Saturday, no, next Friday, the Student Voice Committee, Student Voice Summit, and then the upcoming levy information night. After this, I'm gonna go to the high school and set up a booth or sit there. Thursday night, following Tuesday, we have the big community event. And then anything we can, if you want to join the work that Shelby and her squad are doing, you're more than welcome to do that outside your work hours, your school work hours, which is a couple of nights a week. And then we're gonna have a extended editions for a copy of the soup on the week of February leading up to the ballots, and then we're good. Then I'm excited because the 10th we have a board meeting, and so I'll leave here. I'll go to Yakima to the assessor's office, and then they will actually announce they'll announce the first rounds there for the people who have something on the ballot, so we can be there and see it live. I mean, they'll probably put it online as quickly as they tell us, but it'll still be cool. So that's my report.
Any questions?
My next superintendent, my next strategic plan update is going to be around safety and security. And based on what we've heard of the last couple copies of the soup, so one section is going to identify just our hiring process, how we screen and vet and train and hold accountable staff members, because that's come up a few times because of something that's happened recently at one of our schools. And so I'm going to put that out there as part of this flyer information about our safety and security. So it'll be comprehensive.
Very nice. Okay, the board assessment, I did it, sorry.
Okay.
So anyway, we did good. From the board, anybody have anything?
I think they're asking us if we want to be involved in senior exit interviews, and I think it's the 26th, I believe.
26th and 28th. I think there's 2 days, two opportunities, Monday and Wednesday. Yeah.
Dan, will you tell Shelby that I did mention it to the board so that I don't get in trouble?
Want to tell her I've already seen emails come through our school emails about it, so I felt everybody already knew about it. So anyway, I did go to the curriculum thing with Jose, and Chuck was there, and got to listen to that. It would have been nice to listen to the other ones because I only had one to choose from, but I actually thought that one was pretty cool. One of the things that was interesting about it was, and it was kind of funny, because I was sitting with Jose, and the gentleman presenting this was on science. And he was talking about how, well, yeah, you can get the workbook and you can do this and you have the book. And I'm thinking, great. I mean, we need to go back to books. I mean, that would be great because all these cores not over the place. But here's the kicker. When you're doing the thing online, it won't let you go forward unless you do a correct answer, or it'll bounce you back to a certain area if you need to read a little bit more. But the book doesn't do that. So you almost have to do it on the thing. So it really... The book doesn't really work very well with exactly how he was presenting it. But anyway, it was a really pretty cool process. Some of the things they have are amazing. They can answer a couple questions, and if they get them wrong, it kicks them back to the exact place they need to be to answer that question so they can review it. But, you know, that's pretty neat stuff.
Yeah.
So
One of the top two.
oh, is it?
That one in Salvis.
Yeah, I went to, I think, 3 of them. How many did you? 4, yeah, so I did 3 of them. And that was, of the 3 I saw, the one I liked the best. And it was, the other ones didn't cover from 6 to 12. That one did. So I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense to buy something that you gotta go buy something else.
They were very, people were asking a lot of questions and
Yeah.
actually, not fumbled him up, but definitely had some in-depth questions that maybe he had to think twice about that,
Yeah.
was good. But anyway, and, I actually think they had some questions that they're gonna end up changing their software and how they do it based on the questions. The way I
Okay.
took it was, well, do you guys do this? No, but that's a pretty good idea, you know, like maybe we should.
Our staff was very engaged with the 3 that I went to.
Yeah.
I was impressed with them. They're, it's up to them to come up with what they're gonna present to us for a curriculum for science. And from what I've seen, I think they're doing a great job.
If you plan on being at the thing on Tuesday of next week, make sure we let Sabrina know, because she'll have to put that out, because that is
I'll be there.
something that'll be part of that. So, do any of you plan on going to the thing on Thursday? It's at Sunflower. It's just an informational thing for the levy for the public.
What time's that at again?
I can't answer that question. Do you remember what time? Did you
I
see?
think it's either at 5:30 or 6.
Anyway. But it's an informational thing. I would only assume that I'm being roped into going to that, but more than likely, so.
Brad and I will be there.
Oh, I can't. Cards that night.
Yeah.
So I may stop by there on the way. It depends on what time it goes. So anyway, anything else from the board? FYI is the November budget status. You guys had that information in your deal. Now we're gonna go into executive session. Ooh.